You, what going on? What's up? What's up? It's your favorite podcasters, Jah and
It's Neci.
People's Champ is back with us once again, and we have a special live call-in episode. We have a special guest in the back that can't wait to get into it because she ready to fight me, and I don't even know why yet. But we
I'm looking
go.
for my black and white shirt because I feel like I got a referee today and I need my referee shirt.
She was amped up, wasn't she? She was amped up when we were talking. Yo,
I'm
I don't
just
know what
saying.
happened. What going on with Sai? Yo, I tried to use the old link. This man tell me, Sai, stop playing with me, man. You know you gotta let us know beforehand if you coming on or whatever. Are you trying to come in? Cause we could bring you on. And here he go. Here he go. Anyway, we have several trending topics that we're gonna talk about tonight. Some of them may get you upset. Others may just get your wheels turning a little bit, but we want to keep it interesting. And yes, you can call in. Phone number right there. It should be scrolling across your screen. 706-940-2529. That is a live number. It's real. All right. Hey, Sai, please let me know if you try and come on. I could get you on. Are you coming on? I know one of the hosts.
Oh,
What he's gonna do. But for right now, we're gonna bring on Miss Raven. She's backstage. We're gonna do it right after this. Where she? Where she ran away to already?
Listen, I ordered some Uber Eats. I didn't want my food to be sitting in the bag. Hey, everybody.
Yo, yo,
hi,
yo. Hey,
welcome.
can you tell the people who you are, please? A little bit of background on yourself, man.
I absolutely can. What's up, everybody? My name is Ray Nicole. For those of you who live in the USVI, I am probably going to be one of your favorite mainlanders. Okay. I was born and raised in the Midwest. I definitely love coming down to St. Croix all the time. Hey, CJ. But I love coming down to St. Croix. I love visiting different USVIs. What's up, Cy? And my background in work is project management. I do a lot of government work, but then I also do like contracts and things like that. So I'm always traveling and moving around and all that good stuff. But I find myself to be pretty relatable. And I kind of came across Jah via 1013 Row FM. Shout out to them. Um, he would have comments, and sometimes I'd be like, you know what? I feel him. And other times I'd be like, now I know you
Period.
playing.
Gotcha. That's the one. Mhm.
Because Jah, what we talking about?
Hey, that's the whole point of the show. Same difference. Am I still freezing? Let me know. Am I still
No, you
freezing?
No,
good.
you're good.
Okay, cool. That's the whole point. We don't have to necessarily agree on everything.
Yeah.
Everybody has a separate perspective. And yes, people, listen, sometimes I do say that I want to start some. You know what I'm saying? I can't help it. It's just me. Sometimes I do that. All right. I know what gonna get you riled sometimes, and yes, I do say it. I mean, but for the most part, what I be talking about be making sense, and some people don't like that, even when I make sense.
Allegedly.
But I digress. Allegedly. So I didn't even know she had some steam on her chest until we talked backstage. But I think this is gonna be fun. Hear this one. Here, Darren. Sometimes this man is known for having terrible takes and terrible opinions.
Hey, listen, I've seen some of Darren's takes too, and I'm like, yeah, one day.
Exactly.
One day
Exactly.
same chat too, brother. We gonna be in there, brother. We gonna be in together too.
So we got some trending topics we're gonna talk about, and you can not only weigh in the chat, you can also call that is scrolling. So I don't even know where to start because we got a couple.
It's Darren Carl, I leave him.
No, you're not, Neci. You're not gonna leave me here by myself.
She could turn her camera off. She could turn her camera off real quick. All right, we're gonna get right into it, and then we're gonna find out what you guys think. If somebody calls or whatever, we're gonna be checking comments as we go. That's the whole point. Let's go.
With him, what was the turn off?
Specifically, the turnoff was when I asked that question about would you date a single mother? And Jacoby, you proceeded to tell me that basically you're a high value man and you are too good for a single mother. However, you did also tell me that you were raised by a single mother, which is profound for me to think that a single mother's not good enough for you, but it's good enough for a woman to raise you. That's unfair. And it's very insensitive to women out there who have children.
All right, so just because it's a cycle, I wanted to continue.
It doesn't have to continue.
So what I'm saying is that
it's more about why would you cut off and say that single women are not on the same level?
What you're supposed to learn from is history.
So you're a very intelligent. What's that got to do?
You're a very intelligent woman. You're a very intelligent woman, right?
Yes.
So if you know, as a woman growing up, you know it's the less likelihood for you to be successful by having a child. So what you do, you be more proactive. Using condoms.
What's that got to do with your choice?
Okay, if you're getting pregnant, then all right, cool. Maybe I shouldn't continue having this child because I'm not getting married. I a better chance of me having a successful life by finding a man. That's what I'm thinking.
So you were raised by a single mother.
Yes. And
is your mother still alive?
I struggle. My mom's still alive.
Did she struggle or did you struggle?
Both of us struggle.
Okay, so your words that echoed all around social media, and I want to make sure that we have this clearly, were, I'm a high-value man. I've done things to step up my echelon, and I'm not going to settle for a single mother.
Yeah,
did I have that correctly? I want to be clear.
Yeah, it will be selling.
Right. So what makes you think you're a high-value man? The car you drive?
No, the value I put out into the world.
What about your character?
I have great character. I built myself to basically have better choices. You want to know why? Because women can choose and make a choice.
They can.
They can say, I don't want to date a man that makes less than 6 figures.
They can.
And then what are you doing? You're
but we're not
demeaning a man.
talking about that. That's not the situation that
what I want to...
I didn't bring no wine tonight, and I needed to know I needed some wine.
Oh my God.
Or I needed something on the rocks. I don't know. The water ain't gonna cut it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. There is nothing wrong with having a preference. I wanna start by saying that. There is nothing wrong with having a preference. However, I don't feel like he's necessarily wrong for saying he doesn't want to go through the same situation that his mom went through. However, because his preference is not to have, a woman that has a kid, that's his preference. I just feel like from her perspective, she's like, if your mom went through this, are you saying that your mom was not good enough to find somebody just because she had a child, right? And that's not a bad question to ask. I just think that his preference is his preference. Do I like his delivery? Absolutely not. Do I like his explanation for it? Absolutely not. I think it's trash, right? But I can't be upset because that's how he feels. It's just his truth. His truth is that's not what he wants, and that's just what that is. But his delivery sucked monkey nuts, because what are we talking about? you are on this very public platform talking about, well, I'm a high value man, baby. Let me tell you something. And I'm like you, Neci. I feel like I should have grabbed my bottle of Crucian rum, however, at this point, I feel like a high value man does not have to say that he's a high value man.
Period.
He walks in that energy. So you don't have to call yourself something to know that you are something. And if you do have to call yourself that, I feel like it's because you're lacking in some type of emotion or something, and you feel like you have to say it for you to feel validated. And the truth of validation is that you were validated at birth. You don't need anybody to validate you, who you are, where you're going, and what you're doing. But the way that he gave that delivery, negative 10 out of 10.
I think that too often conversations devolve because of the tone arguments, right? Like, we have to package what we're saying in a certain way to try to cater to our audience, but sometimes it doesn't matter what you say. Like, based off of your own triggers, you ain't gonna receive what I gotta say if it's not what you want to hear anyway, right? But I get exactly where you're coming from. I get the packet. First of all, I don't think he explained himself very well. It didn't help that they were cutting him off every chance they got, right? He didn't put his point across in a very eloquent way. He didn't really, he just kind of, but what about, which is never a good argument. The thing is, I don't disagree with what he said, because like you said, that's coming from his experience, and he's talking from his experience as a child coming up. He isn't talking about even being with one. He's talking about, listen to what I experienced. I don't want to pass that on.
Yeah.
When we talk about passing things on, that's a generational curse.
Yeah.
So, Neci, what do you think?
I agree. I think he sounded like a real low value man in terms of how he explained, like how he explained himself. It came from a place of trauma and childhood. You could tell his examples and his reasoning is from his boyish state of mind versus his manly state of mind. And I think that he needed to really, if he said he was apprehensive of dating women like that for ABC reasons, I mean, he has his own reasons, and it's his to decide if he wants to date a woman with a child or not. Some people prefer to build their family from the ground up and have the experience genuine for the both of them, and there's nothing wrong with that. He could have even said something as simple as that, you know what I mean? But his answers did sound like it came from a place of trauma and hurt, and I think he needs to really, before he discuss that further on anyone else's platform, that he needs to really think about what is it he's trying to convey in terms of why he makes that decision and work on it. Because, baby, yeah, we're not for that. He could have even simply said, like, women don't allow men to really be fathers to their kids in terms of, being as they reduce their ability to parent the child. He could have a million good reasons he could have used why he don't want to do that, because we've seen it many times where, I ain't sure the kids like to tell me, well, you ain't my daddy, and the mother will be like, well, you really ain't his daddy, and or you can't parent him, or you can't punish him, but he's supposed to buy him the child gifts, so he's supposed to buy the child birthday presents and take them on trips, but they can't deal with the dishing of the consequences of the punishments of going to the school and things like that. But so if he said things like that, I would have been like, yeah, you got some really good reasons, but it just felt like a place of trauma for him from his experience with his mom. And I think he needs to stand by his decision, but work on his reasonings why he feels that way.
But you know what? No. If I can add in to what Neci is saying, right? I think like the big thing that got pointed out is the fact that he was saying he's a high value man, right? If you're saying you are a high value man, that means that you are willing to go above and beyond, and it's not a problem for you. Certain things are not an issue for you. If the person that you are very much so interested in has a child, that's not an issue for you. If the person that you are with, exactly, Darren, if the person that you are with, brings you happiness and joy, high value men relish in that. They want somebody that can bring them that kind of peace because they have to deal with so much during the day. But if you are out here on this bandwagon talking about high value, but you still haven't dealt with your childhood traumas, sir, you are a fragmented man that is willing to walk around and cut other people without repercussion. You are willing to say, I don't care how it makes somebody else feels, because this is what I bring to the table. And I feel like that's kind of weird, but that's just me though.
No, you're right.
So
It's very weird. That's why I said he's a low value man, because clearly his, and that's what happened with self. Like it's his self view of himself. Clearly, his ladder is short. It doesn't really go anywhere. But to him, it's high. But clearly, it's objective, and he's portrayed that his words doesn't actually match his action, and his reason he didn't really give a good reason. But like Jazz said, in a sense, he was being constantly cut off because what he was saying was triggering others, I mean, understandably, but he wasn't even explaining himself well, but he was also being cut off. So maybe he might have said something that would have made sense, but he started off on the wrong foot a few times, and I don't know if he was going to be able to pick up from that once he fell from that high, value that he has.
Yeah, definitely. And I also feel like it's social media, right? So they always look for the angle.
Yes, I mean they do cut clips and there's editing, especially for reality shows, right? We know that.
Absolutely.
If y'all allow me, I'd like to dissect from my point of view for a little bit. I can go anyway.
I'm gonna just cut you off.
He said if we allow him. I mean,
see how I had to go on.
But keep going, Josh.
See how I had to go on.
We're gonna cut you off.
I gonna show you something in a second. But yeah. So one, I agree with you ladies as far as the high value thing. I believe that the high value alpha, sigma male, them type of I'm an alpha female. Like, first of all, those things to me, in my opinion, are energies. You don't have to explain or declare an energy. You just have it or you don't. And people feel you when you walk in a room. You don't have to tell nobody. You don't have to tell people that you're a leader. Either you are or you aren't. Right? They'll respond in time. So yeah, he could have stopped that. He just like a Kevin Samuels disciple, and he was repeating things, which a lot of people do. They repeat tropes that they from podcasts and social media that they hear, even though they don't have a valid explanation. So that's what he was doing there. Now, I think his point of view is valid. Let me tell you why. Because she tried to make it seem like, oh, your mother was a single mother. And he's telling you, yes, and we both struggled. He's basically saying, I experienced it. I watched my mother experience it. I don't want that. I don't want that for my child. That's all he really was saying. And I don't think he's wrong for saying that, because there are stats behind it, which I have, because I do that. I bring stats. I don't just talk. All right. So this one is from city-journal.org. Single-parent families, and especially mother-only households, are far more likely to live in poverty compared to married parent households. Given this, kids of single parents are more likely to experience the consequences of growing up poor. Children in poverty are more likely to have physical, mental, and behavioral health problems, disrupted brain development, shorter educational trajectories, contact with the child welfare and justice systems, and employment challenges. Sorry, this one was from aecf.org. This one is too. Waiting for it to come up on my end. More than 20% of children born to married couples will experience a divorce by age 9. Meaning about 20% of children, if they're born to a married couple, that's the amount that will see a divorce by age 9. More than 50% of children born to cohabiting couples will experience a parental breakup. Almost half. All right. This one is from pewresearch.org. How do the living arrangements of children vary by race? In 2022, the majority of white children and Hispanic children lived in two-parent homes, compared with 4 in 10. So over 40% of Black children are living with two-parent homes, right? Which is a problem. I'd like to think that we all can agree that the goal is a happily married two-parent household, right? They said that's the American dream. This one is from city-journal.org. By now, These facts shouldn't be hard to grasp. Almost 70% of Black children are born to single mothers. Those mothers are far more likely than married mothers to be poor, even after a post-welfare reform decline in child poverty. They are also more likely to pass that on to their children generationally. So with those stats put out there, right? Does he not have a ground, a basis to stand on? He don't have a leg to stand on for why he said it, even though he was unable to say those things because of whatever reason.
He definitely has a point. I want to, and this is coming from my government background, right? I want to be very clear that there are some Black women who decide not to be a part of any kind of system that helps them financially because they're like, they can do it on their own. However, there is a large amount of people who are in this welfare system, and it's just not just Black women. I want to be very clear about this. There is a very large group of women that are white or Hispanic that are also a part of these groups that decide to put their men on child support, all these other kind of things. But you have to go back into history at this point. Women who were Black had to be put in a predicament where they said, if we give you this money, you have to keep this man out of your home, right? That is the only way that we'll give you this money. And we'll do check-ins to make sure that there is no man there. And that creates this atmosphere where there is no leadership per se in the home to help these children to be able to see mom and dad cohabitating together to give them this kind of atmosphere that they really need. Instead, it's showing them how the system works. And when the system begins to work, it's the same thing that happened during the pandemic, right? People got a lot of money. People said, you know, but this is the first time I'm not broke. And I'm going to show my kids how to use the system instead of having a 9-to-5 job that will not pay me a sustainable wage to live. But it's better than me being locked in to this government system that now I'm going to train you on how to use instead of you being productive per se in society, right? So it's just a lot of brokenness that happens within our group versus a lot of other groups. And what I will say is, from my perspective, I do not think, again, anything that man said was wrong. I definitely feel like the way that he delivered it was not the best way, but there is nothing wrong with having the preference of saying, I don't want to live through or have my children live through what my mom and I had to go through, because that's hard. I'm one of those children that was a result of divorce. You feel what I'm saying? My parents didn't go through a divorce until I was in high school. So at the end of my 8th grade year, going into high school, my parents started their divorce. Their divorce didn't end until my senior year of high school. Damn. And that was because they were arguing over minuscule things, right? Somebody needed to be right. Somebody wanted to feel validated. And they didn't recognize how that affected their children, myself and my 2 brothers in the home. You get what I'm saying? So I'm very glad that you brought up those stats, because stats are important. Facts are important when you get to talking about this kind of stuff. Truly, for real.
Facts over feelings.
Yeah, but I want to play the devil's advocate for just like a second.
Like the devil won't get enough advocates. Go ahead.
Go ahead, girl.
And I know you know. But you know, in his statement about not wanting to date a single parent, I think it's almost contradictory that if you find a person that you want to be with and her one flaw that you can't deal is that she have a child, knowing his experience, why would you not want to be able to mentor that child on the experience that you yourself went through with your parent and create a structured home? Because it's not like he has kids that's being raised by single parents. He doesn't want to date a woman that is a single parent because of what he did. He growing up poor with his mom. He's just saying like, well, let me build a dynamic with this woman, because everything that I want a wife to raise my kids with, she can portray, but she does have a child or children that I have to take into consideration. Now, it could be a lot of other things. I'm just saying like he could create that structure for that family in that home to build his home on, if that's the issue. But I think his trauma is really just taking him into a place where he's not objectively thinking through what he doesn't want and his experience. And while he can stand on it, and he should, because it's his decision, we all have our reasons why things that we don't like, our preferences. He needs to be able to be like, hey, if you can't mentor a kid that might be growing up with a single parent to make them a healthy, functional, another young male like yourself to grow up to continue building more males like you to break those cycles, then how are we going to get the cycles broken? We can't stop that there's single parents. I mean, we can try to prevent that, but per the stats, more than likely who you had your kids with isn't going who you end up with. And I promise you, 95% of the time, the kids are with their mom, not with the dad. The dad don't go with the kids when the things are broken up. Not saying that dads don't have their kids. I know some amazing single dads who raise their kids.
Correct.
I'm saying statistically, the kids stay with the mom, and she's the one who have to alter her life to manage the kids on her own, while a male gets to leave and go and figure out their new life without their family. And that sometimes include making another family or whatever that may be. But the women don't have that opportunity per se, which does create those cycles of dependency, because now the income is gone out of the home. It's just my income. And now I still have the children. So the children is still a factor that hasn't been eliminated, but the income ratio has changed. So I have to offset that in some type of way. And it does cause an issue for the children. I must say, I agree that it does cause an issue with the children. I support that 100%. But devil's advocate is he could be a good mentor to help prevent those things from happening, starting with young males in single homes to help build them into respectable men to create these structures that he wants and he would like to have that he didn't have at his own home.
All right, that's awesome. I agree with you. Now let me answer though. So playing, I guess I'm representing the man. I guess so. I agree with what you said about stepping into the mentorship role and whatnot, but can you do that if you have never really like reared a child? Because it would kind of be experimental at that point.
Parenting is experimental.
But he'd prefer to do it with two people than step into a step parent role. That child might be 8, 9 years old. He don't miss all the coming up. He might not have that same attachment of a parent that's been there since birth. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are differences. And just like you had mentioned earlier, there are issues related to some relationships when you come into that step parent role, like issues with finances. There's issues with there's disagreements often with like, what is it? I don't want to say punishment, but like discipline. There's discipline issues. Who is supposed to, what can and can I do? Hey, if this happens, can I just take charge, or do I have to call you? I have to call the dad. Like, he doesn't want to deal with those things that just inherently come along with the role. If you're doing mentorship, remember, I stepping into it. I stepping into that position because we don't have him on the show. I can't afford it.
Don't say he, say for men. Say for men.
For men.
But don't say for he. Can he say that?
Okay. For men, right? Because you had previously mentioned those issues that come along with
I agree.
dating single mothers. So there are those things. It's different than if you just do a Big Brother at a Boys and Girls Club or something. You know what I'm saying? Because now you financially involved, you involved with the mother, you involved with the family. There's all these other things that you have to take into account. And he just did not want to do that, which I don't understand why they got so triggered, because he's saying a preference. And he was right when he was saying, hey, a woman could say, yes, I have 6 children. Yes, I want a man with 6 figures. Yes, he have to have 6-pack abs. No, I don't have any of those things, but I want that. And what happens? Does anybody say, hey, that ain't realistic? Hey, why wouldn't you? Your father didn't have a 6-pack abs and 6 figures. Nobody ever tells him that. Tells her that, right? So why, when this man say, this is what I want, it's a back and forth. If I say that's my preference, that's my preference. The end. Wheel bend, story end. Well, why are we still talking about this?
I think it's just an explanation. I don't have a problem with his preference. It's his explanation. And he was right to bring up, like, women consider they want a man who's not under 6 foot. And I'm like, that's a superficial thing for you to not find somebody to be in a healthy relationship with. But that's their standard. That's what their preference is, and that's what they stand on. And
we can't say nothing. And 1% of men are over 6 foot. Did you know that?
Correct.
1%. You want to be with the 1%. And then you add another 0.0001 when you say he got to be 6 foot with 6 figures. No, you got to add 6-pack abs too. But
I mean, the abs sound good. The abs sound good though.
Let me tell you something. They can have that 6 foot any day that they want. They can have the superficial things all they want. God forbid anything happens that would knock that man from 6 foot down to 5'5". You mean to tell me after all the great things that he did for you, all of a sudden he's just the most horrible person in the world? You don't want to be with him anymore, baby? Let me tell you something. Graduate. If anybody that's watching, here's my advice to you. Graduate to the point that is not about per se the look of everything, because looks fade, looks change. The person that you're with is going to change every year that you are with them. They are not going to be the exact same person, right? The bigger picture is, do you see longevity with this person that you are opening your body to? And that goes for men too. Men are not necessarily taught to be cautious of who they open their bodies to. Women are taught to be cautious of who we open our bodies to. And then we get upset when the guy that we feel we should open our bodies to is the perfect person, and he turns out not to be the perfect person. And then we want to get mad because he said up front, I don't want to have kids. And then all of a sudden we say, well, I'm going to have this baby because I want to keep you with me for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
And then you'll be miserable for 18 plus years because you made a decision out of your emotion instead of the truth of what the situation was, right? So when we talk about responsibility and accountability, I really want to be very clear in like, yo, just as much as men have a responsibility and accountability to be upfront and honest the way that we want, women have the same responsibility. The truth is, women are taught, don't be so harsh. Be nice. Don't say it this way. Watch his ego, because you don't want to bruise a man's ego if you're just honest, right? Just like men, not all, but many are very cautious of women's emotions too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, at this point, child, if the ghetto was a place, it's being hooked on to things that you should not be hooked on. So I'm 37. I don't have time to sit up here and hope and pray for somebody that hits every mark that I may want look-wise, right?
Check boxes.
Like, yeah, no, because I know I'm still working on myself. You feel what I'm saying?
Correct.
I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be that. But I want somebody who I can partner with, who I can look forward to longevity with, versus it just being this superficial thing. Child, the ghetto. Wait till you get older. For anybody that's here under the age of 40, wait till you get older. Let me hit you.
Wait.
We all of age. That was very courageous of you and brave to say your age, because I know women don't like to talk about their age. They like to be 21 or 25 forever.
37 years. I want somebody that want all this experience.
Talk to him. It's not mileage, it's experience, it's wisdom.
It's experience. You want the experience.
That's what's up. I like that.
Because you know we got the GPS and the map version. That we could do it both ways. We ain't gonna get lost nowhere, baby. I could direct you. I got you.
Period.
Hey, they're gonna still cuss you when you get lost, though. Don't.
And you're right.
They're gonna still cuss you out.
Where to go?
We're gonna be lost together. I want to be good.
Hey. All right. So, do you have something else on this topic? Because I want to move on to the other one.
Nope.
No, I think yeah.
We're good.
All right. So watch this one now. Here we go.
Y'all need to buckle up for this one. I know everybody came across this. Man avenges son's unaliving by emming cop's daughter. I'm not sure how to say her last name. So a night meant for celebration turned into a horrific scene of violence when 45-year-old Douglas Barnes was arrested for the emming of a 17-year-old Samantha, the daughter of the sergeant Mike McCaffrey. I think that's how you say that. Samantha was stepping out of the limousine when 45-year-old Douglas Bourne opened fire on the 17-year-old. Witnesses report that Barnes then sat and awaited the arrival of the police, repeatedly shouting an eye for an eye. What led up? I know you're thinking what I'm thinking. What led up to this? I do want to say my condolences to both families. Samantha's unaliving is believed to be rooted in a deadly encounter 4 years prior. In 2020, Sergeant McCaffrey, I might be saying it wrong, fatally shot Barnes' son, 19-year-old Gino Barnes, during a traffic stop. The confrontation began over expired tags and escalated into a heated verbal argument. And as you see, according to reports, Gino Barnes reached for his glove box to retrieve his insurance information, prompting McCaffrey, I may be saying it wrong, to open fire. The sergeant was acquitted on all charges, a verdict that left Douglas Barnes vowing in revenge. Now, it is said to believe that Livonia, if I'm saying that right, a city with a troubling history as a sundown town where black residents were forced to leave by sunset or face violent repercussions. Douglas is facing multiple charges, including first-degree murder. This will go to trial, and they anticipate that there will be so many people in attendance. And I saw people in the comments saying that they had never heard of it. And unfortunately, I've never heard Gino Barnes' story. I'll do some research on that, and I'll be back with the rest of my commentary. Until then, y'all tell me what y'all think about this.
Disclaimer before we proceed, right? Disclaimer. These accusations have not been substantiated. There is a chance that this is all AI, this is all made up. However, I did still want to talk about it because me and my father had a discussion a while back about what is a father's responsibility, and he fully believes, and I agree with him, my responsibility is to raise my child till I go, right? And if someone takes that child away and cuts their life short and their potential short, it's my obligation then, because they've upset the natural order, to go ahead and take revenge. So after me and him had this discussion, I seen this, I was like, wow, he done made a movie. So what do you think? And I want to hear what you guys think in the comments. Go ahead and tell us. But whoever want to go first.
Go ahead, Neci.
I mean, if the story is true, I want to give my condolences to both families. The tragedy here is really the loss of the two kids' lives at such a profoundly young age. So that's really where my focus would be, is the loss of life is unnecessary for them who were both innocent in a situation and contributed not to the demise that they ended up in. And so hopefully it is not a real story and it's just AI generated. And we're just talking hypothetically. Yes. Hypothetically speaking, I can't relate, but I can understand to a pain any parent would feel with the loss of their child and the grief that comes with that. And especially if it comes at the hands of someone else being the reason that they've lost their child. And I could only imagine where that can take me as a parent of, mentally, if that was to happen or to experience that in any type of way. So I'm not here to play judge and jury, because every situation can be handled differently. Sometimes it's the parents who lose themselves and lose their ability to move on. And sometimes people get so angry with the situation that they do take revenge. And we've seen that has happened in real life, in real stories. And it's just one of those things that I can't say it's a one story. It's not a one shoe fit all story. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much things that plays into these situations, not just this one, but with someone losing their child at the hands of someone else. It could be the police, it could be someone, it could be a stray bullet, it could be a car accident, a drunk driver, it could just be a mistaken overdose. There's so many reasons that could happen. And I don't want to, tell anyone how to deal with their loss and how to manage that feeling. And I just hope, for me personally, that I never get to experience that before. I hope I get to go first before my kids do. And that's what I ask of the universe, if possible.
Baby, let me tell you something.
Right, thank you.
Hell hath no fury like a person who sees the color red. when you get to the point where you see the color red, there is nobody that can talk you down beyond whatever God you serve. I want to be very clear about that. You don't know what you would do when you feel enraged. Out. And I think that I do not have children. I cannot tell any parent what it would feel like to have their child taken away from them violently and then try to tell them, oh, well, God will just take care of it. Everything will just be fine. It's going to be okay. No, babe. It's not going to be okay because something very unexpected, a trauma has happened to your life. And I may not be the right person to tell you what you need to hear in the immediate moment. Am I going to say that I necessarily so feel like it's okay that that man went to take the life of another child so that father can feel what he felt? I am going to say, and this is all alleged, but I'm going to say no. That child has nothing to do with the decision that that father made. I would rather he had gone after the father than to have gone after that child. You understand what I'm saying? At the same token, I am of the belief that karma is karma. It's going to come. She going to come whenever she ready to. And karma may not come, justification may not come in the package that you may want it to. It may not come violently. That person might get very sick. That person might end up living a miserable life, go completely broke, right? So it's like, I can't say that I am in agreement with him taking that out on that child, but I can say that I feel for him that a part of his heart, a huge part of his heart got ripped out of his chest, and he has to live with that for the rest of his life. While this officer gets to live with his child and hug on them and love on them, and that just is what it is. Like, that's tough, right? But that's my take on that. I would not have gone after that baby. They did not have anything to do with it. I would have went after the father if I was that man that had gone through something like that.
I get that. Hey, that would seem more just. So I'm gonna provide some context before I weigh in, right?
Sure.
When my daughters were born, every time I cried. It wasn't anything like that I can explain, but I did, because you know how they say when you're about to pass, your life flashes before your eyes. When they were born, an image of what their life could be flashed before mine. And the weight of the responsibility of what I now have to do, because I take parenting seriously, it weighed on me, and I cry because it's like I am now responsible for this little human. And I've woken out of my sleep from dreams of them passing. For it to be real, I've met people who have lost their child, right? And that's not something you get over. So when I say you've upset the natural order of things, it's because it's true. The parent is supposed to go before the child. So if you were to take that from me, from this earth, take away my legacy, take away my child that had potential, that God knows what it could have been, what it could have done, somebody has to go to grass. So one of us is going to go to grass, right? And I can't say that I would let that go, especially with the justice system the way that it is, and like police doing what they've done. I can't imagine what Trayvon Martin's parents could be dealing with still, and that man is still free. And you gonna put that on me? Nah, one of us gotta go to grass, because I get upset just thinking about the fact that George Zimmerman now is famous, and they hype him, and he signed packs of Skittles. And you want me, as a parent that was trying to do the best that I could, everything that I've experienced, to hear a verdict and say karma? Because I don't know if karma could be acting through me. Maybe I'm the hand of God today, but somebody got laid down. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
it
but
got deep.
not the child one. And that's what I agree with Ray. Like,
Not the child.
I
I
know,
think
I know.
The father, yeah.
the father
Yeah.
deserve every piece.
Yeah. Let me tell you
But
something.
like the
Fish food. Let me take you out to the middle of the ocean. Fish food immediately.
Yeah. I gotta talk to a man about a horse. Let me talk to you. You know what I'm saying?
But I guess
Let me
the
talk to you
point
real
is an
quick.
eye for an eye, so he can feel the pain that he feels.
And I
Based
do get that.
hypothetically based on the story, it's an eye for an
Thank
eye, so he
you.
can experience the feeling that he feels and the loss that he has.
Blessed
Whew.
word. We have so many
I
stories
got
of
heavy
justice
read. I
not
got
being
heavy
served.
too quick. Yeah, let me.
It did. Yeah,
I
too
need to
many.
calm my stage after this. I just feel like I need a little.
We got more. We got more. Let me lighten it up. Let me lighten it up. Sorry.
Let's go,
I gonna
John.
say the other one. We
Give
gonna
us
lighten it up.
Yeah.
Hey, first, why are men sassy?
Break
That's
City
this
Meteor
one.
coming out just now. I need you to like we need to.
They quote unquote they saying that men who sleep with a lot of women go through all those women because their soulmate is really a man. I've seen this go viral, right? So it's not bad enough that we sassy for everything. We're now gay for having sex with too many women.
Where's
Ladies,
the
you
dude
want to
that's
weigh in?
keeping the list of all the things that y'all can't do to put it on the list? Because I need to know what number we at. I need to know what number we at.
Hey,
Baby,
I can't remember. I think it was 65. I think it was 65 the last I
Because
saw.
this was like 300 or something long the last time I saw it.
When a woman gets vexed, first thing she goes for is manhood. Correct. All of a sudden, now my peen small, but you were balling. I don't care if you were pretending or not. A couple nights ago, you get what I'm saying? But
oh, jeez. Listen to
I
me.
want I want to comment on that because I was seeing a lot. It went viral, and a lot of women talking about it's true. It's true. Yeah, I seen it.
I do not support that theory at all. Like there's
Oh.
my stance would just be either there's people who just have a very large appetite that they can't suppress themselves. Some people do genuinely. A lot of men pretend they do, but some people genuinely do. And then there's others who don't necessarily want to settle in any one place, so they keep moving along. So don't have any genuine connections with people. So they go through a lot of women trying to find something that they're never going to find, and it just doesn't happen for them. There's a lot of reasons, but that would never be the reason why a man sleep with a lot of women would be that reason.
Still small,
I still
teensy
try to
wincy,
process that
still
comment. Like,
fucked, still fucked. Go ahead.
still, not still
Still fucked.
boss. Jam still happen.
Hey, I can't unfuck him, so it don't really matter. So it don't really matter.
Okay,
But
so
anyway,
here's my
mhm.
unpopular opinion, because I know some women in the comments might try to eat me up when I say this. The reason why a lot of things that women go through, we inflict on ourselves. We really do. If you know that man has a small peen, why are you still kicking it with him? If you know it's not doing
Flowers.
for you,
She needs flowers.
why are you still stroking his ego? You want to know why you're still stroking his ego? You're stroking his ego because you're lonely and you're tired of being lonely. So you're at that point where you're like, I'm willing to settle down for anything that comes my way because they're paying me some attention. And that's not what that should be. At some point, women have to accept accountability and responsibility for hyping up some of these egos to be the way that they are. There are some men that should have been humbled many years ago. He's not humble because there's always going to be another woman that comes along and says, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I'll take that. Yeah, because I actually have a man. And because society tells me I'm not too much of anything without one. When the
Ooh.
truth of the matter is, you were already wonderfully made without him. It doesn't mean that you should have to survive without that. You should not succumb to what society tells you, because society is saying if you don't have a man by a certain age, that means that you're old hen. It doesn't mean that you're less than because you chose to have a career over focusing on a relationship, right? I just feel like at some point in time, a spade just got to call a spade, baby. And let me tell you something. Negative 10 out of 10. If we told more people the truth, the world would be a much better place. And that's my sermon for today.
Correct. Because I ain't fake moaning for nobody.
But there was a time.
Never in my life.
You was oohing and eyeing.
Never in my life. Never now, never then, never ever.
Talk your talk, Neci.
Never. God gave me two and everything, but he gave me one of something. I have to value the most important one thing I have. I'm sorry. I could lose a hand, I could write with the other. I could learn to walk on one foot. I could cover one eye, I could see, I could hear, I could turn my head. But that, I don't like Sheen.
Oh, yeah, no.
We ain't lying. I ain't faking.
Where to start? Where to start?
Go ahead. Okay. I'm looking forward to what you got to say. Go ahead.
I really just got questions because this one, first of all, it don't make no fucking sense.
None. Right? I've never heard that, and I don't want to hear it again. But let's go.
It don't make no sense. So I really don't even want to assess that. The idea that men that have a lot of sex with women, which last I checked, that's the thing that make you gay, who you having sex with, right? So men that have a lot of sex with women, which is heterosexual in nature, their real soulmate is a man. And then the amount of women that I've seen, like, true, preach, I've seen it. How many men in the comments, how many women in the comments right now, right, have been with a man only to find out he like man? Because if you watch social media, it's 100%. But I have yet to come across one that's like, yeah, here's my story, right? I usually come across my sister, cousin, brother said that one time she heard about this download dude. You check what I'm saying? And the other ones, I'm like, you didn't know that man was gay? You didn't? Okay. All right. First of all, women's intuition, that's something they brag about all the time. What's up with your first baby daddy? Did you turn it on after? Did you turn the women's intuition on after him? Like, did it click on? Is there like a date where it starts? Or what's up? Like there's a birthday, there's a milestone birthday that you hit, and then the intuition, like, because women don't be liking their first baby daddy at all. So what the fuck? You have to go to prom and then women's, I don't know. Whatever. But that, okay, let me backtrack.
I would honestly say to you that I think a lot of what women go through is generational, right? You seen, have you heard
in our community or just in our community or just women overall?
Definitely say in our community.
I
would definitely say also with women just in general. Like, you heard that viral sound that's going around on TikTok. My great grandmother passed it down. My grandmother passed it down. My mommy gave it to me. Right? It's a Caribbean sound, right? But she's saying my great grandmother passed it down, my grandmother passed it down, my mom passed it down, and I got it from my mommy. Right? I'm being very serious when I say as fun as people make this trend, it's very true. A lot of women live through the generational things that have happened from the generation before. And sometimes we try so hard not to do what our moms did that we end up making even sillier decisions because we haven't gotten to the root of a problem, right? So then we turn around and we say like, oh, I'm okay. I'm not as bad as my mom or my grandma or whatever the case may be. So it's okay, right? And when people talk about intuition, I need people to know the difference between intuition and gas. It's a difference. Your intuition will tell you, let me not go down this path, because if I go down this path, it's not going to be a good decision. That's your emotional intelligence kicking in. That's what I tell you. You know what? I'm willing to go through hell and high water to be with this person because I just don't want to be by myself.
And have a baby.
And then be mad at the baby if the baby looked like the daddy that they was choosing to lay down with continuously.
Thank you. I'm one of them babies. I'm ready to tell my story.
And then really want to be big mad at the kid. This kid didn't do nothing to you.
Mm-hmm. That's facts.
Today. They didn't ask
Ooh.
for it. You asked for it. You asked for it. You said, come give it to me.
We're sitting today.
You asked for it more than once. And then you turn around and then you want to sit in the pity of nobody is giving me what I want. He's not giving me what I want. And I'm so sad and I'm so depressed. Baby, if you would have listened to your intuition, if you would have been in the position to really think, you would not have had a baby by that man. And I'm not saying that to abort or whatever. What I'm saying is you would have stopped opening up your body to somebody that does not serve you a purpose. But I digress.
Ooh, I hate having to follow that.
Yeah, because I had on high water, the fire's so hot and the water so high you can't swim and you have no water. Like, I don't understand where we're going. Now, generationally, I get why we had to go through hell and high water because we couldn't divorce men back then. Sometimes you couldn't divorce these men. We had to go through hell and high water. But we no longer have to do that, which kind of goes back to just statistics why divorce rate is so high, is we ain't got to go through them high waters no more, but we also don't really deal with problems anymore and work through things for the longevity either. So it's definitely a two-sided coin. Yeah. So I hear you, and especially, and I've heard that before. And yes, Jah, we know you're traumatized by that. That child that look like the daddy that you hate the child. And what? I've seen that so much, and it's such an unhealthy thing that we do. No.
I just want people to see what that looks like. I want
what
people
you look
to
like,
see.
yeah. It's such a healthy thing. Like, and then what trauma are you now? You've compounded a trauma onto the child that they don't even understand. They now have learned that a hatred from the own person that they're trying to receive love from. So if I can't even get love from you, who I should be receiving, because all I get is hatred because I look like a person that I didn't ask to look like, then we upset with the child turning into something that we don't want them to be. And then, I tried to raise he the best that I can. No, you did not. No, you did not. All you fed this child is negativity. From the moment they have ears to understand your words, all they understood was negativity. So now that you wanted to be a positive, upstanding citizen to the community, they can't. We can't create no structure now. People can change, yes, but the inbreeding of that mentality has caused such a hindrance in our community. It is heartbreaking to these children. And there was a video the other day where the girl wrote a note. I read it. She wrote a note to her dad because to come to her graduation. He didn't answer her. He didn't respond to come to her graduation. That's all she wanted. She didn't want no money. She said, Daddy, you don't even have to send child support. I don't even want any money. I just want you to come to my graduation. She even sent pictures of her at the graduation, at her prom. And he responded to none of those messages that child sent to him. But why? And she still has an open heart to say, whenever you're ready to talk, I would love to talk to you, even though he never answered her for all her things. So she's yearning for a love from a man she's not showing her any love. She's going to take that and find that in someone else. She's going to find someone who's going to give her love, and it could be unhealthy, but she's going to accept it because that's what she's yearning for. We're teaching these kids horrible habits, generational nasty habits. Not because he said great grandma is still nasty. We need to stop.
But Neci, can I add on to what you're saying though?
Of course.
On a real tip, I was talking to somebody, right? And their father, they had the same relationship with their father, right? He didn't want to be a part. He didn't say that he wanted to be a part, anything of the sort, whatever the case may be. And one day I was having a conversation with them and I was like, even though you wanted your dad, was there ever any other man that was in your life that stepped up to give you what you needed? And if you received it, I understand why you wanting your dad is so important. But if you got what you needed through somebody else, why do you take yourself through such a traumatic experience yearning for somebody who does not want you, right? And they really sat back, and I was like, I don't need an answer now because I really want you to think about it. Like, I really want you to think about that and then come back. They came back to me like maybe a week later. And then they were like, I never thought about it like that. I never thought about how my uncles at every game was there, at every turn was there, because I was so in need of my dad because of how people made me feel like if I didn't have my dad, I didn't have anything. And my thing is sometimes fathers don't show up in the space of being a father per se. It might be an uncle, it might be a brother, it might be a godfather, it might be a cousin. You still can have what you want. It's just not coming in the package that you want. And sometimes I wonder about us, why we are so hooked on the package and the way that it looks versus receiving the gift of what it is that we say that we really want. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've go ahead, Jess. Sorry.
I think we need to put out there that our community, especially from the stats and everything that we've been talking about, we need to understand that generational curses plague us the worst. Right? You could try to romanticize, oh, back in the day, this, that, and the third, but I know too many people that come from broken homes. Oh, the mother was abused, the father did drugs, did this, that. The 80s was not that far away. That was the crack epidemic time for our people. So, and honestly, a lot of the stuff that we deal with now and are still trying to break, because I find that our generation is the ones that's trying to break these generational curses for the first time, really, because it takes so long. If you really look back to it, so much of the stuff that we're dealing with is from, yes, slavery. Because the fact that we eat bad and have high blood pressure and have stress-related illnesses the most, and stuff that other communities do not deal with, is what? Slavery. So you can't tell me that these things did not pass down throughout the generations, on and on and on and on. Yes, when they got out of slavery, they stayed married and this, that. I don't know where we at now, but things have gotten worse because of generational curses. So we need to break those. We need to recognize that those things are real. Stop romanticizing the past. Oh, my mother and my father used to stay together. Your mother stayed because she couldn't have a bank account. Your father had a family across town because social media wasn't a thing. Like, let's stop this. Like, when I hear the stories about my people, when I hear stories, right, I'd be like, why am I not insane? Because y'all did too much, y'all been through too much. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to really put things into real perspective, because people be romanticizing things way too much, and it's affecting us because we don't want to deal with the now. We don't want to deal with the fact that we should be the generation that stop these things. Instead, we're trying to push away accountability. Oh, it's okay to be a single parent in these days. Is it? When statistically, that says that your child will be more likely to end up in jail, to have educational problems, to have problems in their career. You think that's okay? And then they'll say something like, my children are fine. Oh, thank you. So we ain't even thinking about the village no more. We ain't even thinking about the overall no more. Whew. But I'm off my soapbox.
And I think it was like in 19, I want to say, Jai, it was like 1985, 86, somewhere when women actually could open bank accounts without a husband. It was not that far ago.
And look at that.
I mean, we make it sound like it was 1946 or something. It was like in the 1980s. I might be wrong in the year, but I'm sure it was in the 1980s that women could open bank accounts without a husband. And I wanted to piggyback on what Ray said about these kids too, just in sense of we need to stop teaching the kids that their love structure has to start with the mom and dad. Their love structure start with those who loves them, who's feeding into them, and who's loving on them. And that's why these kids are yearning for love from their parental figure, despite that they're not providing it. It's because they know that your mom or your dad is supposed to be your first two loves, supposed to love you unconditionally, blah, blah, blah. And that's not true.
Mm.
And I don't want to sit here, and I actually don't want to respect it so like I just said that, because we got some horrible moms. Not because you make the child mean that you're a good mother. You can make a pick me. That's what you're capable of, is making it pick me. Not all of them is good mothers. I've seen some stuff, I've heard some stuff. These kids, they talk about it, the things that we feed them to, subconsciously or not, as women too. We have to, as mothers, we have to pay attention to what we're feeding our children, especially when we have our own internal things happening for us and to us. We have to be self-aware of what we feed these kids. They're observant, they're self-aware, they're more able to pick up. They learn how to use iPhone 13 before they want. Okay? The declining cars to go back to the YouTube videos to watch their videos and things. These kids are very self-aware. So we have to be able to tell these kids about the family structure. And like you said, a village. Who's loving on you? Pay attention to who's loving on you, who love you. You can't change who your family is, but you could definitely focus. You could definitely select who loves you. And that's two different things. I have my family and I have my village. That's two different things.
That's right.
Correct. So Sai said, dang, 1974, women were finally allowed
74. I wasn't that far. Thank you, Sai. That wasn't even that far away.
And then what happened in the 80s? Crack.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And this is the reason why I'm passionate about history, right? The way that they are trying to get rid of history as it pertains to the African American experience is wild to me. Y'all are trying to say that slavery was not a real thing when it was. And the reason why they're trying to wash it out is because kids now will see their great-grandparents or their grandparents in these books holding up these picketing signs saying that they don't want blacks around when they have not grown up around that era, right? They were like on a real tip, they don't want these kids to be intelligent. These babies do not know how to properly read. These babies do not know how to do a cursive signature.
Facts.
These babies do not know how to be outside of their own emotion in order for them to be productive in society. You understand what I'm saying? And when we talk about family, when we talk about, longevity, when we talk about what it can look like, the truth of the matter is just what Neci said. If we taught them that family is not just your blood, it is who you create. It is the group that you create, right? But cautious about that. Because if the only family you have is people that agree with you, that's not family, babe. And that grows for grown people in this chat. If the only people around you are people that agree with you, then that is literally not the type of person that you should be around. You're looking for somebody to pacify you instead of be honest with you. I like people around me who are like iron. Iron sharpens iron. And sometimes you can get cut, but I'm not leaving you to bleed. I'm leaving you to get healed. I'm going to make sure you good. I'm going to put my sword down to make sure that you're okay. But the way that social media goes, it's like, oh no, you want everybody to like you. And if they don't like you, we're going to talk about gaslighting. We're going to talk about nepotism. We're going to talk about, what's another big word that people always talk about? Narcissism. We're going to talk about all of these things that make you not accountable for your actions. And that kind of thing turns a child into a dysfunctional adult. And then when that dysfunctional adult gets into society, and then we try to figure out, well, why are they like this? It's because nobody ever held them accountable for how they are and what they're doing. But I digress.
Okay. Let's bring it down. I'm gonna say let's give some grace also, because in our community, a lot of us also did not know how to, right?
Agreed.
So we need to start learning that. And Darren says, Neci and Jah never agrees with me at all. And you know why? You have terrible takes. You have shit opinions, sir. But anyway, she wasn't gonna say it because Neci is nice like that and she gonna blast you on it. But this is my show and I don't give a
I am gay.
But anyway,
I will blast them.
you've been the simmer, but you don't never boil over. You check? Like me,
Because when I give it to Darren, right, it gonna be the red brick Neci with a raw Crucian accent and all the word them by my mother tell me she will put crooks in my mouth. So
hey, let boil over in that company which will not be named with him. All right, we gonna call it in, but you know, we got one more to touch on. You ready?
Ready.
All right.
Ready.
So context, right?
Ooh.
So we made a post in the stories, and it was a video from TikTok. Would you fellas, it was strictly for the fellas, would you prefer to talk to a brick wall or a woman? Right?
I know where this went.
Here are the results.
What did I say? 82, 83%?
83% said a brick wall compared to 17% that would talk to a woman.
About their feelings. Okay.
About it. Tell your feelings to a brick wall or a woman. And I think we understand why that is like that if you're a man. But ladies, first, why I don't listen and why I think that's a good thing.
You know what, Jah? We was on a good road today.
We was
on a good road today.
No.
But if you want
I got your
I will
potholes.
hold him back for Darren. He could get it today.
I got your potholes. I found St. Croix. But so why do you think because it wasn't even close. It was severely skewed.
I will say that my opinion is that most men would rather talk to a brick wall because most women, even though they ask for the truth, they don't receive it. They get upset and then turn around and try to argue with that man about his feelings when that's not what that should be. His feelings are his feelings, just like your feelings are your feelings. The problem becomes when you try to belittle what he feels and then turn around and get upset when he doesn't want to express his feelings to you. And then it's like he's talking to a brick wall, right? So why go through the trouble or the hassle of having the conversation if the truth is it's not going to go anywhere? As a matter of fact, because so many women, I'm not going to say all, but because so many women are very emotional, it's going to lead to, oh, you're going to get in bed and sleep all the way on the opposite end. You're going to fix yourself some food and not fix me some. You're going to turn around and say, well, I'm watching the rest of this series without you. You know what I mean? I think that it just gets to a point where it's like you're not extending the same grace to that man as you would like to receive. So what is the point of talking to you when I could talk to a brick wall and not feel bad or feel a type of way at the end of that conversation?
Oof. She said all the things. Neci, what do you guys say?
What I would say is that we've created a culture for men where having emotions and feelings is looked at as a sissy or a feminine trait that women that find distasteful and they don't value in men. And then so it teaches men to suppress themselves and their feelings, which only causes them to find an alternate outlet to express themselves, which is either anger, rage, or some negative outlet that they use. It could be drinking, whatever, to deal with problems, versus having some place safe and secure where they can come to. If a man can't come home in his own home and speak to the most important person in his life about how he feels, who else can he speak to? Or who should he speak to? And sometimes some things are more severe where we need professional assistance or intervention with counseling, mentorship, therapy, etc., which is a case-by-case basis, we all know. But your spouse should be able to come home to you and you don't turn it into, or you make how you make me feel. Because as women, we like to do that. We like to be like, oh, well, what you said make me feel like, yeah, you feel a way, but he's trying to express something to you. And we need to create more safe spaces for men to be able to express themselves, be heard, seen, and feel valued and not undermined after the fact when they do come and talk to us. It's something I had to learn myself. It wasn't I wasn't taught that. We won't teach these things about relationships. What we teach about relationships, marriage, cooking for man, making baby, and we don't teach about these intricate things that makes relationships sustainable. And I had to self-teach I had to I had to learn that for myself, I should say. And it's created a different dialogue for relationships in terms of how we communicate. So I agree with the poll. The poll makes sense to me. I am not surprised about the results. I just wish that men had more safe avenues where they can speak, can be heard, can be objective conversations, and healing can take place, because we need our men, our Black men and our men in our community. They're important, they're valued, and we need them to be able to be functioning at 100% when it's possible. But like Tanisha says, like it's like a bear thing. Like when women say, "Would you rather be in a fight with a bear or a man?" Well, most women pick the bear. They feel more safe with a bear than they feel be in the woods with a man. So it's like we have the bear man and they have the wall. So
exactly. Now, there were replies in the inbox about this, and you know, some people just write things off like this as a
from men
man versus women. No, it was women. But some people write it off like it's a gender war topic, and it really isn't. Like y'all said, you recognize that it's like the man versus bear thing. It's just something to get you thinking. And why would it look like that? Because I'm sure some people were surprised because you get the wow, that's really how y'all feel. But the truth of the matter is, this is a multi-tiered topic, right? Because it has so many intricacies. For one, men don't feel listened to, and then a lot of the women in our community feel like listening is not something they need to do. Like, I know you've seen where a woman will brag about, oh, I make this amount of money, I do this, and I don't listen. Like, why would you brag about not listening? Because it's important, because that's how we process information. So men, we feel like we get put into this box where our job is provide and protect, because that's what you hear. Men need to provide and protect, provide and protect. None of that suggests that we need to feel, right? Or we need to emote. And some stuff that has happened, I'm sure in a lot of men's lives, is like you try to talk to a woman and either it comes back up, she throws it in your face later, so it doesn't feel like it's a safe space, so you shut down. Or you grew up in a household where you get told that men don't cry, right? Or you have shown emotion to that person that you think you should be able to show emotion with, and now they look at you differently. They get the ick. You get what I'm saying? So we exist in this space that's relatively small, because if you were to listen to what women expect from men, you need to be a thug, poet, singer that sells drugs, or at least has drug money equivalent. You need to be tall, in shape, but have a dad bod, but also work, but not too much, because you need to spend time at home. And you could be strong and masculine, but you need to be sensitive, but not too sensitive, because if you do that, you get what I'm saying? So we get put into this box that we're trying to maneuver around. And as we grow up, we mature, and we go through life and things change with us, we're trying to find out and figure out, how do we exist in this tiny box while I'm expanding, while I'm growing. So what do you think about that?
I feel like, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion, and it's not every disclaimer, it's not every woman. I feel like there are some women that just want to be men. You want to be a man. You have to want to be a man. You want to have to go through what men go through to justify your actions. And then you say you want it, you get a man, but you more masculine than that man is. You say, I want somebody to make me rest in my femininity. You're already feminine. So it shouldn't have to take a man for you to rest in that. But the moment that you belittle a man to make him feel smaller, again, I feel like that's a generational thing. They saw their mom talk to their father or whatever men in their lives a type of way and felt like all men from that moment forward are punks. So now it's not a case of letting a man be vulnerable. Why should I let a man be vulnerable if when I was growing up, I saw that and he got shut down? You get what I'm saying? So I just feel like, man, at the end of the day, there are some women truly who do not know how to be feminine. They don't want to let a man be a man. They will always complain. They will always find something wrong. And it's unfortunate that she won't know how good she has it until it goes away. Right? The truth of the matter is that it's very sad that men do not have safe spaces. And it's harder to get a man to come out of that shell into a safe space once he's exposed himself to get to be vulnerable, and that gets taken away from him. Let that next woman come along. Let her be great. That man is going to be a hard shell until he feels so comfortable that he's like, okay, I can give her this part of me because she's not going to treat me like my ex treated me, or that woman that I gave that space to treated me. You know what I mean? So that's what I feel about what you just said.
I think that again, people need to understand that these are energies. Masculine and feminine are energies that we're talking about in it. And both men and women are born with those energies. So nobody should be able to dictate when you're masculine or feminine, because y'all understand when I say I'm a masculine man and I'm waiting for that feminine energy to bring it out of me, y'all could hear how that sound. But it doesn't stop women from saying I'm existing in my masculine right now and I need that masculine man to bring out the femininity. No, you need to learn how to exist in that. Nobody could bring that out of you. You've been existing in a way that you think is masculine. First of all, that masculine idea is everything toxic that you've learned, because masculinity is not aggressive, punching walls and paying bills. There is nan bill. I've never seen a bill come to me that needs to have a gender before I pay it. Because you pay a bill as an adult, that doesn't mean you're a man now. You are not Shannon Sharp because you paid your fucking electricity bill. Okay? Like, stop that. We need to cut that. Those toxic masculinity traits, we need to wash that out of our community as a whole. That goes for men and women both. We need to get rid of them. Yeah. Because I could be masculine and know how to nurture, but feminine is more in tune with nurturing. Right? It doesn't mean that because I could play with my children and stuff like that that I'm now the mother. Like, we need to get that stuff and understand men do a lot of the emotional heavy lifting in relationships, because sometimes it feels like women's feelings are more important. And I think that factors into the fact that men will more say, I think this. And you'll hear women say, I feel like. They'll even respond with, I just feel like. Even after a conversation is being had and he said this happened and this is what happened to me and stuff like that, I just feel like, you know what I'm saying? Because women tend to be more emotional and that's how they speak. We need to learn how to speak to each other. We need to learn how to communicate. And the masculine feminine rolls into that element. And we do a lot of emotional heavy lifting because we just feel like masculinity is not about emotion. It's about logic, doing, provide, protect. If you see somebody trying to break in the house, go deal with that. That's your job. Whew. When I'm off it.
Yeah, but I think we take that provide thing. We take provide to only mean financial, and I said this before, I'll say it again. Provide is a covering umbrella over my head, which constitutes my financial, but it also my mental, my spiritual, my emotional, my educational, my parental, the umbrella for provide is not limited to my financial assistance. If that's all you need, just put your price up and let people pay for what they want, so you can get your money. But for provide, I think we need to stop limiting what that means for a person to provide for you. There is so much that goes into providing for a person and to protect a person. We could protect my spirit. It could be protecting me from financial bad decisions. It could be protecting me from mentally losing my mind. Those two things are very in-depth coverings that people have just reduced to basic. Fight, protect means you're gonna fight somebody for me. If I act a fool and I make a scene, you're gonna come and beat up the dude for me, and then you're gonna take care of all my bills and that's you're gonna provide for me. That's not what protect and provide means. If that's all you require, great for you, but that is not what that means. And we need to really start really understanding what we're asking for, being self-aware of what that means, and being able to reciprocate what that man needs as well. Because what are I protecting and providing? I have to protect and provide too. It might not be what he's doing, but I gotta cover that person. If I have to feed into you mentally with positive words every morning, if I gotta pray over you, you have to make sure you have meals so that you don't have to worry about what you have to eat. Whatever that is that I have to provide for you as well, it's a covering for both of us. It's like your security system for your house. You get your Ring camera, you get your internal alarms, you have things around the house that you keep yourself safe. You have your weapon if you have your license, whatever that means. You have multiple ways of keeping your home safe and secured. So you have to do the same in your relationship. And that's my hot box.
You better suck your tongue.
I needed my wine, or I needed my drink on ice. Okay, now I just sipping on water, and you get me rowdy tonight.
You should know better than that, though.
I didn't know Ray was coming with its energy. I'd have been prepared. I didn't get no pre-insight to what she was bringing to the table. But I guess she know.
Next time we're gonna have a glass of something and some water right in front of us.
I don't know. Yeah, but
I think it's been a great episode, man.
Yeah,
this was a great episode.
We're here. Of course, it was great.
Yeah, it was good. Ray, yeah, you did amazing.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm so grateful that y'all let me on. I appreciate it very much.
So you got that energy out. Maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? I'd be making some sense.
I'm sorry?
Not so bad. You're not so bad.
Don't do that. Ray, look at me. Look at me. Don't do that. Don't.
Hey, don't do that. Okay.
Neci, I'm always here with you. I just want to let
you know. That's how you're going to fall into it, and then you're going to be like, Neci, I know you have...
Yay.
Really appreciate you coming through. So the guest always goes first with their last words. If you want, you can give your socials so people can follow you or whatever, but you don't have to. But we just want to hear, what do you want to tell the audience as your final words as we head on out?
The thing that I would love to tell the audience is that I really hope, I pray that you find peace in your life. I hope that you find joy in your life. I hope that whatever is the next best thing for you that you find, you don't let other people define you, because you are the person that leads the ship that you're on. Whatever God you serve is going to lead you on the ship that you're on, but don't dumb yourself down. Do not look at yourself as you are not worthy, because you are worthy of anything and everything that needs to come your way. If you want to follow me, or if you want to check me out, you can follow me on Instagram at I_am_Ray Nicole. That is RAYNICOLE. Again, that's I_am_Ray Nicole. Or y'all can follow me on Facebook at Raven Scott. You're going to see this fine picture of me when my hair was straight before I started liking my hair. Okay, but you will see a picture of me, and feel free to add me. I can't wait to interact with each of you.
Ooh. She's media trained. You can tell, right?
I like it.
Neci, what you gotta tell the people? What's your final words?
I just want to say, Ray, thanks for coming. We appreciate you giving us some of your time. It was very insightful, very factual, very spiritually enlightening. We do appreciate your views, and we do hope to have you back. I just want to say thanks everyone for joining. We had a good time. I'm always happy to interact with you guys when you allow me to. Jah don't want me on the show all the time. I just want to know he don't want me on the show all the time. But anyway, we appreciate you guys tonight, and thank you guys. It was really fun. I like the topics. I like the little discussion, the camaraderie. And Sal, next time come on the show. Stop waiting until the last minute. We like to say you want with a link there. We love to have you back. I missed you. Come on. But until then, good night. Thank you guys as usual.
I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. I told you it was going to be a lit episode. Something in my spirit just said this going to be good, because I did see her on 101.3. She is a honorary VIP in the man. Like, she stays in touch. You see the feathers behind her, man. It was a great episode, and for sure we're going to have you back. That's not even a question, because they loving the trio. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We the fucking best, man. Like, when it comes to podcasting, we do it well. I mean, this wasn't even. It's not rehearsed. We ain't gonna edit this. It's live, and we were going in for a fucking hour and a half. Share this, like this, subscribe, follow. Go ahead and tap in. Same Difference and Friends 2. September 27th and 28th is a 2-day event. Come true. Hey, we love you guys. That is Ray Nicole. That's Neci. I'm Jah. This is Seeing Difference. We out.